Yes, yeah. You are tuned into Offering Something. I am your host, Michael Bernier, feeling so good to be alive. That is for sure. You know I love you for tuning into the show. If you're watching on YouTube, lean on that subscribe button. If you're the streaming television type, we're out there everywhere. Amazon TV, Apple TV, Roku, all that. Love you for checking the show. Big thanks to our sponsors at Enjoy Your Life brand, Riverwalk Brewing Company, and the Higher Education Music and Arts Festival. Oh, yeah. So here we are. Today, we have an episode that is completely epic for you with a guest who is a musician, an educator, an award winner, an innovator, a creative, a brand in and of himself, a loving man, a personal friend, and an inspiring individual who is stylistically offering something. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to y'all Mr. Will Dailey. Hey, Will.
Wow.
I love you.
I feel special from
You
that.
are
man.
special. Comfortable? Everything all right?
No, I'm just going through the ways where I need to make sure that I'm adding up to that every day. Wow.
Yeah, I think
That's
you
all.
do. You do a great job of being everything that I just listed.
Thank you.
You feel safe?
I do.
Are you ready for
Here or in general? I always feel
just
safe
here
in your
now.
presence. I feel safe here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And in general, I feel safe.
Thanks for moving your physical body here to this location. I'm happy you're here in the room.
My spirit never left this space since the
It
last time
really
I've been here.
did.
Yeah.
You look so good. All right, let's take a trip back to the days of diapers and wipes when little William was without words. Where were you born, Will Dailey?
Malden, Massachusetts.
Malden, Mass.
Yeah. Malden,
I felt like you were going to say
Massachusetts.
like Oklahoma, something like this. Malden, Massachusetts, place of birth. Did you grow up there in Malden?
No. I quickly moved around like a mass hole, just different spots.
Was there
of
one
Massachusetts.
spot that you would consider the place that you spent your childhood?
Well, my parents split up super early, shortly after that Malden episode of being born.
Yep.
And they both lived in different places in Massachusetts and moved around. So I got to see a lot of north of Boston. I would
North
say
of Boston?
Arlington with my
Arlington.
mother for a long time.
Yep.
And then she moved north to Andover, Massachusetts when I was in high school.
Oh, Andover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Rick James. You know Richard James. You don't. It's okay.
Did you say Rick James?
Yeah, but not that Rick
Okay.
James. Yeah. Anyhow.
Wow, I did not pay attention when I lived in Andover.
So you're bouncing back and forth from the A-towns.
Exactly. My father always lived Melrose or Saugus or
Okay.
yeah, Malden.
When was the first date with an instrument?
I always gravitated towards the tennis racket as a guitar.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. There's pictures of you as a little one holding a tennis
100%.
racket.
And
Like
flashlight microphones.
really?
Tennis racket guitars
Tennis
and
racket.
flashlight microphones. They
Oh,
still, when I have
yes.
them in my hand, they're still sometimes it feels that simple, you know?
So sometimes when you're looking for something, all of a sudden you're singing into the flashlight.
Right. Or the
As an
guitar
adult.
feels as easy as the tennis racket felt in my hands
You're
at
on
5.
stage, you're like, 40 love. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
It's
that's
just like,
tennis
it
talk.
had the strings on it, just more. So when I actually picked up a guitar, there's only 6 strings. So
Right.
it became easier than tennis
and they
racket.
go in one direction.
They go in one direction,
Yeah.
and they made sound. So already I was better.
So
player.
when was this?
12.
12 years
Yeah.
old. You're 12 years old. How does the guitar make its way into your hands, Will?
From the tennis racket, I always found my way to them.
Okay.
And I remember like
Like you'd
family
go to
friends
somebody's
who-
house
yeah,
and there'd be a
like-
guitar there.
and they were all of a sudden my hero. So I remember my father and my stepmother had a friend who had like a little basement room of like 3 guitars and a microphone set up. And I just thought, oh, I'm in a studio now and this is real and this is really
Yeah.
happening. And I would go and play in there and he would let me they would have dinner and he was just like, yeah, here's the amp, turn it on. And I would just There would have to be like a
You have
7-year-old
any
kid.
idea what you're doing
No
at
idea,
this?
just feedback,
Yeah.
noise,
Loving the noise.
like giving like Sonic Youth a run for its money, just like what beauty is.
No disrespect to Sonic Youth.
Right.
So when did you take that noise you were creating and start to hone it into actually knowing what was going on, playing notes, chords, progressions?
At some point in my mother's dating life, she met my stepfather, and he had a Martin acoustic.
Okay.
Which is like, all right, this is the guy.
This is the guy. You're
yeah.
like, let's roll with this
this
dude.
Is the dude.
Get some lessons here. Yeah.
And then around 12, he's like, I think the Martin was really precious to him, and he would let me mess with it, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take the Martin now and I'm going to learn guitar, right?
Yeah.
There was about a $75 guitar up in Lowell that someone put on that, for sale. And I went up and bought that.
What were you looking in? Like where were you finding?
I think my stepfather found it. He's like, well, if you want your own, here's like $75 a guitar and amp.
Yep.
And it was, unlabeled, probably like a Sears electric guitar from the 80s or 70s or something that some woman was just like getting rid of.
Roebuck, I gotcha.
And I wish I still had the amp because I bet it would sound just so nasty. It was like just small with 3 unlabeled knobs on it.
So you're 12 years old then, and you get this Sears brand generic guitar here.
And it's in my mind, it's all been part of the destiny. It's like.
Were you so happy when you got that?
So
that
happy,
day?
yeah.
You're driving home and you just couldn't even believe that it was going to be there.
I can't believe
forever.
I have this thing. It can make the noise and it's in my room, and I.
So here we are, some decades later. Can you try to put into words your actual relationship with the guitar and perhaps some sort of synchronicities with a friendship and define, a lot of people walk by a guitar. There's a shelf, there's a desk. What is your relationship with the guitar? Always love it, you hate it, it's ups, it's downs.
This is a great question.
It's your best friend.
It is a huge part of my identity.
Yes.
It is a love of a thing that I know that I'll never really be great at. And I think I speak for a lot of guitarists. Like, you love this thing, you've seen greatness on it, and that's what inspires you.
Yeah.
People tell you, there's certain people who might think you are great on it. And maybe there is no absolute measurement.
Exactly.
There is no
greatness?
absolute measurement in this, but
perception.
My feelings are that I personally am not great at it, but it is my cartography. It is my map that I'm always writing new roads and sea lanes that I'm finding. Yeah. And I always know, even if I hit a roadblock of paper running out or no idea where that hillside will go further, I know it does go further. And that's a wonderful feeling that when I want to venture down there, I can go that way or that way or that way with it.
Do you feel yourself like physically yearning for the guitar? You go away for 2 days without it. Do you miss the guitar? Like, I want that relationship with it. Is there a true love there?
Absolutely. But in a way where it's like having your true love and you see them at a gathering for the first time in a long time, and you smile across the room and you're like, we don't need to run into each other's arms right now, because this is, if I hold you now in this room, it'll get really weird for everyone else. We know how bad we need each other right now, but to do it right,
we'll get to it.
We need to finish this half hour of meet and greets and then get out of here. And that's kind of how I feel about the guitar too. It's not like I don't need to just say that I'm holding you.
But do you get mad at the guitar? Is there that side of it?
Yeah, but usually I feel like I'm mad at myself, not at the guitar. The guitar's like, I'm here when you need me. And I do the worst days in my life, the best way out of them is to be like, hey,
play the guitar.
Don't forget you can play the guitar.
So you'd say that's also in many ways your therapist or one of your therapists.
Yeah. And songwriting is probably more the therapist, and the guitar is more like
the muse.
Bass line and just coming home kind of thing.
Yeah. So before there was Will Dailey, was there a band that happened that didn't have the name Will Dailey?
Yeah, there was lots, and they were born out of loyalty. My loyalty to other people.
Yeah.
Not my loyalty myself for my music.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be Will Dailey.
Okay.
I never wanted to be a
We'll
solo
get to
artist.
that. What's the first band name? Come on.
Ever?
Yeah. Do you remember? Do you recall?
Johnny on the Spot.
Johnny on the Spot. Do you know the guys? Do you remember the individuals that were in this band with you?
John and Max.
John,
it was a trio.
Max, and
I always
Will.
was driven to the
Johnny
trio.
on the Spot.
Yeah.
Was
And then
Johnny the
Rob-
singer and you were playing guitar?
I was the guitarist and the singer. John was the bass player. And Max was the drummer. We practiced at Max's house. He had a big TV room with his drums in it.
You talk to those guys still?
No. I think John reached out to me online, but sometimes I think maybe it's just another last name of John, same
So
thing.
you don't even respond. He's like,
John
I guess
Haskell.
Will's too cool for me now.
Yeah, and I'll be like,
Doesn't he remember Johnny on the Spot? He
Yeah.
does. You're hearing him say it, John boy. So you have this band. It leads on to what you're saying is, I didn't want to be Will Dailey, but I became Will Dailey. Give me the reason why this came to be if you didn't want it to
well, Johnny on the Spot was like first years of high school.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, I
there's
get that.
There's a $500,000 in
be.
between.
What was the first real band?
Well,
that you would
the last
consider a
band I was kind
quote-unquote
of
real
in
band? Yeah.
was called Mapari. And
Mapari.
it was high school friends.
Yeah.
Best friends, went to college, stayed together, broke up for a little while. I started a bunch of other side things. Then we got back together because we went from
Mapari reunion.
we went from our first gig in a bar in Boston to selling out the Paradise in 6 months.
Look at this.
And
I know that road.
it was just, those are my best friends in the world. And I wrote songs to make all of them happy.
Okay.
Right, kind of thing.
I know what you're saying. You wrote
know?
the song. You wrote the songs for the band.
And probably for the family I was looking for, right?
Yeah.
The brotherhood I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have a sibling that I grew up with or anything, so I was always looking for that. And I found myself on a hamster wheel with that band and not knowing it.
So wait, now I'm going back to you're bouncing back and forth as a child. You kind of felt isolated and alone in the world.
Yeah, and I was looking
No
for
brother, no sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I treated finding a band like, all right, well, this is my
Family.
base, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was the wrong way to look at it. I needed to reconcile the things that
I'm putting a lot of weight on you guys right now.
Right.
You might not be aware of.
Right, that's absolutely true. And I should have instead used what I've gone through to make the art I needed to make.
Yeah.
And when I did that, that band was doing all right, but we had just been like, all right, we're all 23 now. We've been doing this for so long, and we had done amazing things,
Yeah. Mapari? Is that what it was? Okay. Mapari came to an end?
Yeah, it just fizzled out. Well, I put out a record on my own that I just made of tunes, and I did this record.
What, were they upset with you when you put out your own album?
No one was paying attention. I think it was winding down at that point. It was already winding down, and they some of them were on it. They're all on it.
Yeah.
As well as a bunch of other new people. But I was calling all the shots there and didn't, and I also did it on 16-track analog at a time when everyone's using Pro Tools. I found a guy who had all equipment pre-1980.
Yeah.
And we could only use 16-track 1-inch tape. When we were mixing the music, there's no automation on the old board that he had.
Right, yeah, you're actually mixing it live.
Yes, when you're making the final copy, do you want the voice to come up in the chorus? You got to do it or start the mix over again.
Yep.
And that was thrilling.
So was it when you were with Mapari, or was it post that you made the internal decision that you wanted to be a musician?
I never made that decision.
You never made the decision. You never
I was
consciously
like,
thought about,
I'm
I'm going to pursue this?
It was
Just what you were doing?
my love of music, and like, I want to make this piece of art right now, and I'm going to do it. And anytime I behave from that starting point,
Yep.
something changes for me in a positive way.
Yeah.
When it's just focused on the art, when it's just focused on an emotional reaction and not a plan,
Yeah.
the plan comes from that reaction.
Right. Because it's genuine and honest.
Right. So I made this record, and it was just, I'm just going to make a record of my songs that are just for me.
What's the title of this record you speak of?
Goodbye, Red Bullet.
Goodbye, Red Bullet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And put it
all
out.
of a sudden, you're on the map.
All of a sudden, I had a career as a solo artist. Yeah.
So you released that album.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm fast forwarding a little bit here, but at some point, you're put in a position that at that time, all of the other musicians around you wanted to be in. You were presented with a record deal?
Right.
Okay. From?
Well, depends how long the story goes, but I was down and out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
From being on the road with Goodbye Bullet.
Yeah.
This guy who loved a bunch of my songs and the record, after I had gotten really sick and came home to Boston to kind of heal up, calls me and says, like, I got you a record deal.
You didn't know this was coming?
Not really. And I didn't trust it because from all the bands I had been in prior and all the like New York City record showcases we went through, signed, all that kind of stuff. And then the Goodbye Bullet, which I mailed that CD to, I don't know, 50 press things. One of them was XM.
Handwriting them.
Right. One of them was XM Radio.
Another $373 to mail this.
Exactly. One of them was XM Radio, and they just start spinning it nonstop. And all of a sudden, the phone starts ringing like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So,
what was there a particular station on XM that was
called XM Unsigned, which it's not a station anymore.
Right on.
But it was like.
But they played a valuable role in your career, you feel.
And that's where headhunters, the industry went to be like, all right, what's buzzing?
Yeah, what's out there? Ooh, yeah, we can make this work.
Which there's always those barometers everywhere. They just always pop up. And so then I'm touring this record everywhere. I think I sold 4,000 copies on my own, which was incredible at the time,
Yeah.
And iTunes and downloads and all that shit. So can I swear?
Yeah. Do whatever you want. Represent yourself as you choose to, Will.
And then I'm in LA playing all these showcases again. And I'm on that same thing, and someone's about to sign you, then they're fired, that department's closed. And this is when the industry's falling apart. So I'm home. I'm thinking, well, that's it. This guy calls. No, I got this record deal. And what that was an indie deal of investment. Go make another record.
Yeah.
We own that record. Our job is then to sell you to a bigger label.
Shop that record for you. Yeah.
And I'm already burnt out and thinking my career is over.
You're like,
not
write
knowing
an album
that it's just in its first beginning of beginnings, right?
Yeah.
And I go, they're like, why don't you come back to LA and work with this producer? Great.
Who's the
producer.
indie label? I like names. Can you be more specific?
It was called JM Music, I believe.
Okay.
They're not even, they were just in an indie investment label, which is a thing.
Yeah. I
mean, they probably did 5 records, and I think they cashed out and went to their new idea.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who put it together is a big manager for a lot of Vans Warped Tour kind of bands.
Okay. So you get the indie thing, you go out there, you're recording. Here we are.
Well, I didn't go back there and work that producer. I said I'm going to stay in Boston and work with my friends. Because in my mind, I think, sweet, they're going to give me this money to make this record. They don't know what a nightmare this business is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go make this record that I want to make right now. So be it.
Yeah.
And we did that. And all of a sudden, 4 months later, CBS Records.
A major, yeah.
Yeah, which was a big name record label. The funny story being that it was really an indie label. Someone at CBS realized they're not using CBS Records anymore. They decided to open up the department, had 4 people working in it with major label name, indie kind of work ethic and space and ability, really.
Yeah.
Everything was outsourced at the label, but I ended up there.
So when you got that call for CBS, do you remember that you were a little excited? It meant nothing to you. Was it like, oh, all right.
At that point,
this is cool.
At that point, it was just like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah, let's give it a run.
What could go wrong? I think 2 years prior, I would have been, this is it. Everyone get ready. Here comes Willie.
Right. So, but you go out there, you sign a deal.
Yeah.
What is the deal? If you don't mind sharing that information.
At that time, well, I think I made $1,000.
Like that's what you got.
Because the investment label got all the money from the deal. That was the deal with the investment label.
Consignment situation here.
And I got sold up. And
so they succeeded in their effort.
They said, look, we will be able to get all the music that you write on the shows, not directly, but you're not going to have to go through all the channels to try to get the producer of CSI to hear it. We can be like,
here it is. You want this. Yeah.
And you just have to sacrifice the mechanical royalty.
Okay.
So that was a huge sum.
Yeah.
But then I got dozens and dozens of what I would do is every time in LA, they would just invite the producers of TV shows down to my shows.
Right.
They would see me, and then they put me on the show the next month.
So let's talk about that. So as a result of this, you ended up with some television spots, right? On what shows?
I never watched any of them.
I think one of them was CSI. Is that a
Right.
show?
No,
I don't watch television either.
all the murder mysteries, all the big shows.
All the murder mysteries.
You
you are.
I've seen there's a bunch of scenes out there with someone with a knife in their back or like underneath a tarp with blood everywhere with my song jamming. And
but isn't there one where you were actually in the show?
Oh, I was in the show too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember like you're in the background, you're the band on the stage while this is going on over here. Can you paint me a small picture of this unfolding behind the scenes? I was
playing in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Played my set. Walk out into the back alley to get some air right afterwards. Like you walk out, you're like, I'm sweating. I feel good or bad. I'm going to go get some air. This dude comes up to me in the alley. Complete sleeves down his arms. Couple tats coming up the neck. Chains everywhere. Perfectly chiseled beard.
Yep.
He said, that was a really great show, man. Oh, thanks so much. I said, I'm always grateful.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk this week. He says, I'm going to put you on my show. I was like, oh, cool, thank you. Now, I'm still in the mindset where I've heard everything.
Yeah,
been promised everything.
I can't wait to hear from you.
Someone's always got something for me to this day.
Yep.
To this day.
Yeah.
And I'm always grateful, but I never think, there's no excitement, there's nothing.
Get your hopes up.
Like, that would be
even keel.
And I usually say, that would be absolutely wonderful. And
hope I hear from you.
Yeah. And if they say, this is really going to help you, I say, I bet it will. Or if they say this is really going to help us, I'm like, I'm sure it's going to be mutual.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then the guy walks away out the alley, gets into the car in the parking lot, which is his Bentley with like the lights glowing underneath, and just drives away. And he was the producer of CSI. It's like all of them.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, I'm on set with Gary Sinise filming.
I don't know who that is.
He just saw.
He's the main guy.
Did you watch Forrest Gump?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. He's a great actor.
Okay.
Wonderful guy. I'm on set, and I'm where he goes to blow off steam after solving a murder. I can't tell you the rest of it, but he gets up and played bass with me.
Oh, I did watch it. I saw this.
Saw,
Yes. Now that comes back to me. Wow.
And yeah, man, I remember the night before they put me up in a hotel. And I lived in LA on and off, but it's probably my third earthquake experience. But I remember not being able to fall asleep because I had to be on set at 5 a.m. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of thinking, what the heck is happening in my life right now?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah, and I never got into this to be in TV, so I don't also know what it means.
Yeah,
I can't think about it.
Putting makeup on you.
I was too young to be strategic about it either.
Yep.
Which now I try to tell my friends who have odd opportunities. Here's how you can be strategic to get back to your art.
Yep.
And I remember the earthquake happening. My arm is hanging off the bed. My arm is just rocking on the bed like this. And I think, I'm just about to fall asleep. If I freak out about the earthquake, I'll never get to sleep for the show. I'll just ride this earthquake out. Do not panic. Do not get in there. Do not go to the door frame or anything.
The earthquake, yeah.
Yeah, because you need sleep. Yeah. You're going to be on TV tomorrow.
Did I see you on a morning talk show, some kind of thing?
Oh, I've done... I don't know how much I want to talk about. I've done more weird and out there things, and
here's Will Dailey with their morning song, and I'm like, what's happening here?
Right, and honestly, as far as music and career and as my life as an artist goes, I want to try everything once, especially when it's connected to music. And if I don't like it the first time, I won't do it again.
Yeah. But
I have no rules about anything. Being off limits. My job is to try to connect.
Open-minded, welcoming.
That's the whole thing. That's the picking up the tennis racket. It was like, this is something I can connect with. I know it's not a guitar, but right now it is.
I can make this
work. This is
how
I connect with the world. And anywhere this path brings me, I want to try at least once. Right. Now, I've come back. This is my third time coming back here, so it's...
Yeah, I love you.
So...
how did the relationship come to an end with the CBS?
So I had a great relationship with everyone who worked there.
Yep.
The best people. So many great things. I got to work with T-Bone Burnett at that time.
Yeah.
Ryan Bingham, who won an Oscar and the year I was working with him.
He's incredible also.
Roger McGuinn from the Byrds.
Yep.
And I got to do a lot of wonderful shows and try different lifestyles that I wouldn't have been exposed to. By that, I mean be on a TV set,
right,
or whatever, which gives me this beautiful perspective.
Wasn't in the cards.
They, as the experiment of this big seemingly label, which is run like an indie.
Yeah.
I was the first one in the door, and I was the last one out the door, which is the good thing. And when the president was shutting it down, when the company of CBS, the parent company,
was like,
shut this little, what is this thing down, the president of the record label called me and said, I'm only telling you this. This is what's happening. I want to come up with a plan for you. That's how soulful he was.
Yeah.
So I want to be clear, because people sometimes talk about my story as like, oh, you got screwed by the business.
So this was my interpretation, that it was a very, very sour situation.
Well,
so
we'll get to the sour part.
Okay, I'll get to that.
No, he was, my CBS experience was
But
great.
the actual humans you were working with were...
But I learned, and they made mistakes, I made mistakes. Yep. I had a manager for a second, the one who got me the indie deal. I had to let him go because he did not know what to do once I got signed.
Yeah.
He knew how to get it. These are these little things that happen along the way that no one tells you about. Mm-hmm. That guy, and I really feel like successful artists that I meet and work with are like, they know when it's like that person's outlived their thing. I'm still looking for the family and the loyalty.
Right.
I'm still looking for the brotherhood and the sisterhood. Right?
I see.
So the guy got me the indie deal. Once I was in the door at CBS, clueless.
Right. He's like, I've only been trying to get to this point. Now we've arrived, and I might as well be you.
And so then I was on a major label.
Yep.
I had to let him, we had to part ways. And I'm managerless on a giant label.
Here we are.
And I learned
I'll make
so
those
much.
decisions, yeah.
I learned so much through that time, and they respected that.
Yep.
And also then found me a manager, a guy named Randy Hoffman, who's a dear friend. He was John Mellencamp's manager.
Yep.
He was Mariah Carey's manager at one time. He's Roseanne Cash's manager. He's Steely Dan's manager. He was like seasoned. But he's also...
Good golly.
But we're talking 2010,
right,
where his knowledge is now becoming antiquated.
Gotcha, yeah.
But I learned from him things that were not then being passed down to where we are right now. And I can still carry what I learned from Randy into my life. So that was wonderful. And I worked with Randy for a long time, and he worked with CBS to get me, when they decided they were shutting down, we're going to go with the plan. Their first plan is like, we're going to go to every label with you. And they went to Universal first, and Universal said, yeah, we'll take him. And so I'm thinking, holy shit, I was ready to give up on that record that I had to leave, I made Goodbye Red Bullet, just to give myself a break. All these things are happening by loving music, by keeping going, by trying new things, by saying yes once.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm going to the biggest label in the world now.
Fully welcoming of opportunity.
Perfectly natural.
Yeah.
It's all happening organically. It's not like I sold enough records on CBS at all. I got a lot of placements, which was part of their metrics.
Yep.
Had a lot of downloads at the time. Was crushing MySpace.
Killing it. Yeah, buddy. So now you're at Universal.
I'm at Universal. I remember my first time there, I got there. They brought me up in New York City. I go up the hall. They posted one side of the hall without my mug. The whole way, all around, everything, full body, things on the wall. The other side of the wall, because he had a new record coming out, solo record, Mick Jagger.
Is this you and Mick Jagger?
As I walk down the hall.
Dude, you're like...
If Instagram was out, it's like 2000 and I didn't have, there was no stories. You would be like, oh, look at this, oh my God, so blessed. I can't believe it.
Check me out, y'all.
Yeah. And now I just walk down that hall by myself thinking, my manager's in the room already.
This is
incredible. This is the weirdest thing. And I didn't plan on this.
Yeah.
I planned on making music and writing songs and recording them. But I had to get lawyers because I was offered a deal, not to get me a deal. Right.
Yeah.
And I just thought, all right, organic is my way. Always going to be that way. That's how I got there, of course. And I remember that first meeting, I was just like, you know what? Something is not right here. And then the guy who signed that deal went to work a show called The Voice. Yeah. So he's like, hey, I got this big new show that's crushing. I'm going to put you on this guy's desk. And the marketing guy who loved me, and he's like, I know exactly what to do for you. I understand you. You're exactly who I'm waiting for. Fired. I'm like, okay, now then all these things started happening where They had a record coming out. Day of release, they have been going to all these record stores. It's not on iTunes from a clerical error on the computer on their end. It's like, all right, we're gonna pull you back and relaunch again in 3 months. And we want to switch the single now instead.
What?
And we're also thinking that you cover, do you like Joe Jackson? We think you should cover a Joe Jackson song because you have that rock thing that's kind of missing right now. And that we could like really send that out to blogs now. Do you like Joe Jackson? I was like, I love Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
But he's like, we're thinking you should
Will
cover,
Dailey.
Is She Really Going Out With Him? Do your own version. I was like, you mean like the Rockin' Tours just did with their single?
Yeah.
But like Jack White's Rockin' Tours band just had a song that, not rip off, but like just had the same energy, same like riff as happens with rock and roll and all kinds of music. And it was on the radio. And I was like, you know, I can't do this. I just realized.
So that was so they said it to you then. Was it face-to-face, this conversation? First time it happened?
The Joe Jackson thing?
Yeah.
Well, it was also me sending in a lot of demos.
Yeah.
And saying, like, let's add in, we're going to re-release the record with a new song. Meanwhile, your fan base is not being fooled.
Right.
If you've cultivated any fan base, you can't go into these situations, which is a hard lesson I learned with a vibrant fan base that is supporting you. And saying, hey,
try to trick them.
We're going to release the album again. Just stay with it, you know?
So hold on. When he tells you to do the Joe, I think you should do the Joe Jackson. That's right. That's what we want here.
Yeah.
Is he looking you in your eyes?
Meanwhile, the guy who wants me to do it wants me to like revamp it, and the president wants it exactly like it was, and so they're fighting. And it's just like, this is the stupidest situation I've been in.
What about me over here? Yeah.
But also for me, I'm like, this is just not where I belong.
So did you immediately like vocalize and say,
and that's the first moment where
into this?
Well, that was the first moment where I took everything I'd learned from being in bands forever and being maybe too loyal sometimes to releasing my own first album by accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
To working with a wonderful label that treated me well. To say, you know what, this seems crazy, but I want to get off the biggest label in the world right now. And I know they're going to have me jumping through hoops for the next 5 years while my time is wasted.
Yeah.
My spirit is wasted. And the people who have supported me will lose interest or faith. And I'm not going to say that this spot is bullshit. I'm going to say that this spot's not for me. And even worse than that, someone could excel in this task of making a Joe Jackson tune.
I'm just not the guy.
I'm not the guy.
Yeah.
And that's disingenuous to every way I approach music in the first place. To try to be that guy.
Right.
Because I know that guy probably exists, or girl.
He's out there. It's not
the spot.
you.
They should have the spot.
You're creative.
Yeah. And you know, I've been working with T-Bone Burnett. I had John Mellencamp's manager, the head of CBS Records, who went on to believe me, many other amazing projects.
Did you have a mentor at this time? Like, were you able to discuss with your manager and like have a real conversation, or was he more like, no, let's just do this?
We had. He was a real manager.
Yep.
I tried to work with him. I would try it once. You know, I think I like sent a studio thing of like, this is how I do the Joe Jackson song.
So you recorded it.
I didn't write like on the studio, but I did like.
Yeah.
You know, put a mic in the studio, me and my
like,
drummer, how we would do
the angle of how it like.
And that's when they got in a fight how it should be, and I was like, all right, forget it. You know, I can't be between.
And then you started the motion of getting out of that deal.
Getting out of the deal, yeah.
As a result of the Joe Jackson song.
You know, I was also
sending on the surface, but
I was sending them demos, and they're like, yeah, not this one. Not that one.
How many, Will? How many songs did you write?
5 or 6.
5 or 6, and they shut them down. And then we went to Joe Jackson, and you were like, wow, you guys like my whole vibe, but not what I'm writing. This isn't a good feeling.
And they just wanted one song to add to a record. And there's like this Lenny Kravitz example of like when he had An American Woman to his album, then it went double platinum.
Exactly.
And so they're still operating off the paradigm from 1990 something. And so I just decided, look, I have some chess pieces because John Mellencamp's manager is my manager. They don't want to upset the manager of John Mellencamp.
Yeah.
to make that guy happy, all we have to do is let this guy go.
Yeah.
Fine. And no hard feelings.
So card played and you were like, oh?
And that manager said, I love you, but if you don't want to be on the biggest label in the world, I won't be able to manage you. And I said, I totally understand. Yeah.
You walked.
And I walked.
Did they own your songs?
Only that record that never really got released. I'm still trying to get it back.
Yeah.
But it's 11 songs.
Yeah.
And I'll get it back.
You like gifts, Will?
What?
Gifts? You know what a gift is? Like a present?
Yeah.
You like those?
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Okay. Can I give you one?
Sure.
I'm going to do that.
All right.
Yeah. Got a little
Is someone
solemn
about to
there
walk
towards
in
the
right
end of
now?
that. No humans.
What is this?
I don't know, Wayne. It's a gift.
Is it a gun
Open
rack?
up- if it's a gun rack. A gun rack. What am I going
look
to
at
do
this.
with a gun rack? It's like one of the only movies I know. I could keep going with it.
Look at this.
Oh, there it is. An
I
Enjoy
love
Your
it.
Life hat. Look at that.
How did you know I needed this right at this point?
I can
We're
see.
at the low point
It
in the
was getting a
story.
little
We're at the
solemn.
low point in the story.
Okay, guys, no need to be solemn, okay?
Stickers.
Some
I
stickers.
love
Enjoy your
stickers.
life, Will. Smiling time. Let's
T-shirts,
pick it up.
Drinks.
What do we have? Ooh.
Enjoy your
That's
life
for you
t-shirt.
when you're going to the gym.
And I'm so COVID buff.
Yeah,
Like,
you are.
yeah.
I know. You look so fit. You look so good.
Look at this.
That is actually drawn by someone I believe you know, Aldous Collins. Are you familiar
I do
with this
know
individual?
Aldos.
So that's his piece of art on a shirt for your lady. That shirt's for your lady. That's an Enjoy Your Life brand
I'm enjoying my life right now, and that.
brewed
that
by the
brand.
good people at Riverwalk Brewing Company.
Oh my God! Is this an
It's
accident?
a golf ball. No, that's by accident. That's on purpose. I like to give people a golf ball
Oh.
that you're comfortable to lose. It's a little bit hacked up.
I just feel like you're packing this box and like a bad golfer hit this.
No,
and
no,
they're like
this-
you weren't looking and just went like that.
No, Will. This was
Golf
a part
is-
of my strategy.
Golf is so
Let
funny.
it go.
Look at this. What is that?
That's
Is that
one of the
hanky?
gator kind of things.
I
like
love
this.
gators. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put this on now.
Oh, protect your neck.
Protect your neck. A mask
It's a mask.
for the next time I fly. I'm always gonna wear a mask when I fly. now.
Some CDs that get mailed into the studio.
Yeah,
People
but
are still mailing
time
CDs
out.
here all the time.
That's funny, but I do love compact laser discs.
Yeah. Why? Do you believe it? Do you even believe it?
These are my glasses.
Yeah.
You still have them. I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to bring it up.
I know.
I didn't want to say anything.
Can you believe
I was
your
too
glasses
afraid.
are in
I
there?
was too afraid to be like,
You're
no,
like, I
dude.
can't believe he hasn't brought up the glasses yet. We talked about it a few times.
Involvement. Dude, let's get back to these glasses. Look
You-
at this.
You have
Look
asked me
at
about
this.
those glasses right 5 times over the last
I think
7
I was
years.
here for like when I was releasing National Throat or something
it
like
was. About 7 years
Oh
ago,
my
I think, is
gosh.
where that stands.
that. Oh my gosh, my glasses. I can finally see at night.
What do you mean? Those prescription?
Yeah, I haven't been able to see for 7 years.
Look at
It's been
you.
horrible.
Look at you now. Everything is clear.
Oh man.
There it is.
Oh,
Wow. the
I feel
glass-
so good. Thank you so
Now you-
much.
That's Will Dailey.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, man. All right. So all these years go by. We've talked about all the wonderful things that you've done out there. You've had a career like laced with record deals and exceptional managers and award-winning situations. And then all of a sudden, here you are performing at the cleanest venue in Massachusetts, the Shower of Will Dailey.
Yes.
That's where it leads. Now, how is that experience going from there to, I guess I'm going to play some virtual shows in my shower?
Yeah.
Did you love it? It's very raw.
It's very raw. On the cellular level, it's very disrupting.
Yeah.
On the
The seat
intellectual
didn't
level,
look comfortable also.
yeah, and you find out the world's going to shut down. You had all these plans. You're also in life as an artist. Sometimes you're like, look, man, you do survive by momentum. I don't want to say month to month or anything like that. I want to say, you survive by your own momentum.
Are
in
you
your own pace.
suggesting a little bit that in hindsight you're not happy about the shower thing?
No, I'm saying that when a pandemic hits, the artist is
Survival
panicking.
tactic. Yeah.
Well, and panicking because you have to stay in motion. There's no job that you have.
No.
There's no security.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
And part that gives you part of your power because you are used to walking steady with like a Fonzie type of gait when on ground that is not secure. Where most of the
Figuring it out
world
on the
has
fly.
agreed to say, I'm going to be on some sort of secure ground.
Security, yeah.
Exactly. And so
Are they
you know,
clean
you-
enough now? I know
No,
I
they're
didn't clean
clean.
them. I didn't clean them well for you.
they
Yeah, I knew I did.
when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, this is what always happens. Like
Yeah.
shit's always changing. You never secure it. Good.
Yep.
You see a friend at a club who has a GoFundMe for all the staff there that's non-salary. All right, I'm gonna go online and I'll play in my shower.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we raised $1,200 in 45 minutes.
Well,
like, holy
something's going
shit.
on here.
And then 30 days later, I funneled $26,000 to a few hundred different people who are out of work via PayPal and Venmo. And I don't know what is up or down anymore. And this pandemic's not lasting 2 weeks. It's not
How does
lasting
that
3
work
weeks.
with the accounting? Do you know?
No, it's just like,
It's like a
in there
mystery. Oh,
because
no.
people are tipping to my PayPal
Yeah.
and Venmo overnight. And
You,
then
so
I'm
it's
going
like
to the
more
bartenders
like Will
and
made these $20,000. Let's get ours.
Right, and then it's like,
Yeah.
all right, $150 to all the bartenders, $200 to the sound guy, and going out every morning. And then I go into the next club in the afternoon, prepare for the show, play. We're raising anywhere from $800 to $20. I think the biggest show is like $2,800 or $3,000, and this went on for like 30, 35 nights, and and then morphed into so many other things. And then we're 2 months in a pandemic, and I don't have a plan for myself. So, and I'm sick of my shower, and my guitars are all banged up.
What would you say outside of music are some of the things that perhaps were positive benefits to your life or your well-being that you took out of this long time of, I guess, isolated reflection in many ways? Were there positive aspects for you? It was a struggle for you.
It was a struggle. And I
It
just got
was.
an email before walking in here from another musician saying, like, I want to reach out because I'm trying to figure out how to get back to work. And I've kind of been thinking all night, like, how I'm going to respond to him. He's like, thanks for keeping it positive and doing so much during the pandemic. And I was like, 95% of the pandemic, I was in a ball on the floor, feeling like a failure, having an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Everything from all those bands and Goodbye Red Bullet and these record labels, and then to breaking away and having more success after breaking away, I was all for
Yeah.
nothing. And here I am. I got a kid. I got responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I've invested the bulk of my youth all of my youth, into building this, and it's gone. It can just
Yeah.
be taken away like that. And that was an
Exactly.
experience
If I
that's
stopped, this would disappear.
yeah. And how many people opened up a business 2 months before this or 20 years
Yeah.
before this, and it was, negatively affected. So I spent most of my time on the floor.
You'd say you were depressed.
Yeah. And I did a lot of things. I think from the outside in, it looked like I was getting good things done.
Yeah, your public presence,
Yeah.
but you are, doing something positive for the world, and you're gonna go play the role, play
Yeah.
your character. Will Dailey's not the sad, crying guy.
And I stopped live streaming like in June of 2020 because
Yeah.
had done so many. I got overwhelmed. I had to figure out what I was going to do. And I took a break for the summer. But I would say those shows felt in the middle like, oh, wow, I am connecting. We're raising all this money. People are writing these things. I'm getting all these messages. But what on the cellular level, we're supposed to be near each other, in front of each other, seeing each other,
Yeah.
waving,
Connecting.
hugging, connecting in some way. The digitization of our connection is wonderful because it connects us more broadly and we are more aware of each other. It's a huge adjustment to that. It's a huge adjustment to know someone else's pain on the other side of the world
Yeah.
that you haven't seen or will ever know. And you either deny seeing it to protect yourself or you open up to it. That's a lot that we've had to learn to understand. We are still learning to understand in the last 30 years. But what doesn't happen is any of the real connection.
Right. It's The digital is not a replacement for the human
and
connection.
the awareness can help, but it does not. It is only the cover of the book in the inside fold. So it is really important for us to have this connection. And that, I would say, what I've learned from the pandemic is not something that happened in the middle of it or anything, but that it's coming to the beginning of its conclusion, and I'm still here. And I can still keep going. I'm grateful. I'd be grateful if you called me to play 5 songs to 5 people.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Right? And I would have thought before this, what does that mean? I would have thought too much about it. But
Right. So you feel like you've reconnected with what is of the utmost value.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it nice to have eye contact over here?
Absolutely. Especially with the yellow blockers, because you're a little jaundiced. But yeah.
I was jaundiced. So you are saddened by the fact that you weren't playing music, right? But outside of that, you were an unhappy individual. Like, what are the reasons here? Is everything okay?
No, everything's okay, but I don't know anyone who could not have the anxiety of the moment.
So were you? This is what I was really trying to ask, and I lost it, admittedly.
Okay.
But since, were you in fear of dying? Were you?
I was in fear of failing. I was in fear of not being able to.
I mean, from pandemic situation, was that a kind of thing that was weighing on your depression? Like, oh my gosh, I am also, not only is my career potentially on the fritz here, but I might be at the risk of dying. Was that stressing you or not stressing you? Consciously, subconsciously?
Probably consciously. The me that I knew I needed to be dying. I had friends dying.
Yeah.
I had a friend that couldn't make it through it.
Yeah.
I had a friend who's always on the edge, that a pandemic naturally would push him to that absolute edge.
Yeah.
And he I lost him. And another friend who I couldn't go say goodbye to as they're dying for cancer.
Right.
And those were bookended separately in thirds, and those added a certain perspective of
Life is real.
life is real.
What are we doing? What am I doing?
Yeah, and I need
Did you
to
start
stay.
to doubt what you had created? Like, what have I spent all of my years building here? Am I delusional? Is this actually a thing? Or
Absolutely.
yeah,
100%. And like,
Okay.
what a fool I was, how reckless, how irresponsible, how selfish, how self-absorbed.
Yep.
Um,
So you feel like your ego, your personal ego that you have, like, it's in a better place now as we come out of this?
100%.
Yeah.
I think working through 2 sets of grief, I think, worrying about family and making it through it and that, and making it through a little bit. I'm certainly more agnostic to existence in itself.
Now,
And that's super helpful.
Is this a part of the transition that leads us to the year that lies ahead of you, or that we're within now, of playing 100 shows out there, whatever they might be, like stage shows at great festivals or quote unquote working man shows? Is that you want to reconnect and reestablish and go back to being a humble human?
Wow, I never left being humble.
Hmm?
I didn't
You
leave
never
being
left
humble.
being humble.
No,
okay.
it's like,
But being
no.
in more humble, you understand what I'm saying,
because
more
I think
humbling
sometimes the hard part is
situations.
like getting beyond humbleness. Sometimes that's too dangerous in this business.
Right. Well, in this sense, you're always playing showcases. The show is always something you like that is worth advertising for, that people are going to come out for, and you're playing these kinds of stage show operations with big promotion behind them. And now you're telling me that you're looking at taking a different approach in the year 2021, which is, I'm going to play those great shows, but along the way, I'm going to play like what I'm calling quote unquote working man shows. I'm going to go into a bar room and play a show.
Yeah.
Why are you choosing to do that?
Part of the anxiety that came with the pandemic is you're on a hamster wheel in this business at all times.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're enjoying yourself and you love it, it's still a hamster wheel because
finances.
you're being told that you're being told that you can't get off to some degree. And I'm always worried about
Gotta stay current. Keep coming with the content. Let's go, Will.
That plus my anxiety comes from I want to be able to make the music I want to make, regardless of what situation I'm in. And that's my greatest fear of losing. And I know like hustling and work gets me to that place of I can make music in my bedroom, and I do, and I love doing that. But I also want to be able to hire the best harp player if I need that for my vision, right? And pandemic comes and you're forced off your hamster wheel, and the things that you know intrinsically and that you're always espousing, that music is connection. It's the oil of our human existence too. It makes all these gears continue to turn, whether we know it or not. We always focus on the gears and the machinery, but they would just be seized without the oil.
That's right.
And
here you are providing oil.
Right. And I know all these things, but the hamster wheel kind of can pull you away once in a while, and you think of this tyranny of content too that we're in.
Yes, I want to hear this.
And we're pulled in constantly, like you just said, content, or you're gone. You don't exist in this new wave. It's absolutely hilarious that we have
I didn't post anything in 2 days. Oh my God. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't possibly watch every binge show. And I don't, at the end of my days, I won't think, I never finished Ozark. And I know personally, I'll think, I wish I listened to Dark Side of the Moon again.
Yeah.
I want, if I can do.
I'm glad you said that.
To Pimp a Butterfly one more time. Yeah. And
take it away. Sorry.
And the thing right now is everyone's gonna say, all right, I need to get this track out. I need to get Spotify. I need to get it on the road. I need to like write to my fans. Hey, I'm so excited to get back out there. And
what are you gonna do to creatively?
Well, the thing is, I just don't want to compete to be noticed in the abyss.
I understand that.
And I figure,
what's the other option?
The soil. I go back to the soil. The soil is
take it to the flesh, the bone.
And I feel like my music and who I am has always been communicated best in person. I love my albums, and my albums definitely connect with people, and they mean something to people.
What are you saying? That you're going to focus on live performance and in some level abandon the digital world? Or are you saying that you're going as far as my new music is not even going to be in that abyss? My new music is going to be where you find me.
Again, I'm going to stay agnostic.
Okay.
I love all,
Yep. I'm not saying you have a distaste for it. I'm talking about your personal preference. I don't think you look at what's going on now and go, people are doing too much of that, or in this direction. I'm saying, as an individual, where do you see
I set a goal for myself.
Yep.
100 shows by December.
That's it. That's the goal right now.
I've played 9 so far.
There you go. 91 left.
I think there's like 48 booked with about 10 in the works, probably this week lockdown. Going to go West Coast in September. Playing with Pearl Jam and Brandy Carlisle.
What is this now?
Ohana Fest.
That's lovely.
Gonna make my way all the way to Florida in November. Gonna close it out in my hometown of Boston in December. It'll be 3 nights in a row. No, hopefully the third night will be 100.
Yeah,
if I can get the math right.
That's the plan here.
I mean, I might call you, be like, okay,
I'm
really
lock
short
in one show on Tuesday night.
Get 10 people in your driveway, whatever it is.
You got it.
But it all matters right now.
Yeah.
10 people in a driveway matter. And my job, if we get too busy back to our own hamster wheels, my job is that oil to say, we're going to stop right now. We're going to stop and listen. I don't want to tell you to go to my song on Spotify. I don't want to have to like point to where I am in the abyss and say, try to click on me. like that, share that, comment.
Need more hearts.
I'll be on those platforms, that's fine, but that's not where we all matter.
Yeah.
Those are great aspects of distance communication that, they helped out a little bit during this time of keeping us connected.
They're supplements. They're nice little add-ons to the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cute. I like it.
I think mentally we give them too much power.
Certainly.
Everyone says legally they have too much power. I think as soon as we decide they don't have any power, they don't have any legal power or mental power or spiritual power whatsoever. I look at everything as a potential blockbuster video other than music and love.
Yeah.
Those things are the things that last.
Come and go.
Yeah. And Tower Records rule the day.
Yeah.
Spotify rules the day. One day won't be here. I love Spotify. I'll listen to Spotify on the way home tonight probably,
Probably not going to be there in some number of years.
Yeah. And I figure 100 shows is putting me back in that same place that I've always been in.
Let's not overlook something that you briefly mentioned to me. There's this concept. Can we talk about the concept of the 7-minute song here?
Right.
Are you ready to do this?
I guess if I say it, then I have to do it. And I am there, and I've built it all out, and I'm going to do it.
You told it to me. I guess I was a part of your pitch. You're making it real to yourself.
Yeah.
I believed it to be an actually in motion. Let's do this.
So during COVID pandemic lockdown,
yes,
I recorded 3 songs. The faucet never turned off creatively.
Yeah.
But I think the panic of survival never allowed me to go do the dishes. So I let it fill up with water and be like, all these ideas are coming great. I have all these songs and everything. I never really went and mixed up the dishes and did anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like I deserved to go there.
Mix the dishes. I like it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know what you mean, Will.
I did decide, if you don't go in the studio, which is probably one of your greatest happy places in life, like one of your greatest safe places, you have to go to a therapist. So you either go to the studio or go to a therapist. Yeah. I'm like, I don't get to get any tracks out of the therapist. So I'm going to go to the studio.
It costs the same amount.
Right.
Yeah.
It costs
maybe even more. So
exactly. So I have these 3 songs, and I was like, I really don't feel like putting these out again into that abyss of everything, into the tyranny of content. I'd rather
right now you have 3 songs.
I'd rather play it for you right now.
Yes.
And say talk to you about it for 30 seconds. Be like, let me know if you're ready to sit down for one song's 2.5 minutes, one song's 7.
Yeah.
Be like, you want something high energy right now, or do you want to dive into a little bit of a journey, right?
Okay.
And that's how I feel like I would want to share it. So why don't I? Why don't I? My job is to be creative. My job is to create connection.
Yeah.
And too much of what we put ourselves through as artists is toxifying to that impulse to say, I need to record this by this time frame and get it out. I need to record this by this time frame and share it. I need to get as many people to listen as possible. What are the numbers? How am I doing? All that.
Is this working? Do I need to alter what I would naturally be doing, my creative process, in order to create something that works for the algorithm?
Yeah. And again, not that those platforms aren't important and serve a purpose, and I get to tour all around and someone comes out and says, I discovered you on YouTube or Spotify.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. But what is my job as a human being on earth? Not how do I make money or gain attention. So what I plan to do is within the 100 shows starting in June.
Yeah.
Is I have this notebook. It's pretty big.
It's a notebook, like a 5-subject notebook.
And I'm trying to find a device. Maybe it's like an iPod Nano, or it's from my phone, or it's like I get the tape deck or something, or like an old Discman. And I take the song's being mixed right now. I'm about to mix and master it. So I'm kind of giving myself June, maybe July.
Yeah.
When you come to my merch table, it's just going to say, ask about the $5 song. Whoever asks, be like, okay, well, it's this song. Maybe 2 people a night get to listen to it. We give you these headphones whenever you're ready. You can go in the back room, in the green room. You can go out by the car. You can go inside or whatever. Just find like a moment to yourself. Here's a notebook. Listen, here's a little bit I want to say about it, if I want to say anything at all.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm only ever going to let the people who hear it hear this song.
I love
And
this,
just,
Will. I love this.
And then write your thoughts in this notebook. And I've already done it with 3 friends. They listened to like my rough demo, and I filmed them. So the video is just going to be people listening to it.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. If a couple hundred people listen to it, then I paid for the cost of making it, which is more than I can say for a lot of tunes, you know, sometimes.
Right.
And
it's super unique. Like, as the listener, the consumer, you're like, oh, it's just me and the other people that did this.
And then one of the other new songs I might just put out too. Be like, there's one that's out there.
Yeah.
That's new too. And I love it. I just wanted to share that one that way.
Wow. I like the concept here.
But I also don't like.
I like where you're going. It's really, really creative.
And they can write your thoughts. You could doodle while you listen to it. You could say, I hate this. I love it. Or just write something random.
It'd be nice to get actual, true, genuine honesty as someone writing, I hate this, but I don't think that actually
I'm going to say I'm never going to read it. And I don't think I want to read it. Like, I'm also like really busy, and I don't need to.
Busy. What's the genre? Let's just say that. What's the genre of Will Dailey? And with that question.
Well, that brings me back to. All right, go ahead.
Hold on. What is the genre? And with that, as we live in an ever-changing world where our mindset is forever changing, as individuals, we grow, we adapt, we transition. How is it that, if this is the case, that a genre of music that you're in kind of stays the same as this creative individual that you have detailed to me? Is this too direct? Is that heavy?
It's stressful. It's a stressful question.
It is.
Because
don't you want to put out a hip-hop song once in a while?
But I have. I've gotten to be, you have Ark in here, right?
Yeah.
I've been on Still Gold's records.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've written a couple songs with them and sang on it.
All right.
I produce a lot of artists.
I
produce hip-hop. I produce folk. I produce rock.
Do you feel that you are, like, because Will Dailey sounds like Will Dailey. Not to say that your music and from song to song is the same. I see the variations. I know, ooh, this song actually has a reggae vibe to it. This has this. I listen to your music. But it's a Will Dailey album. Is there pressure to remain in that space? Or as life goes on and you develop as a human being, are you still continuously drawn to this kind of music? That is ultimately driven by you and a guitar is the format, the foundation of 95% of them.
Right.
Whether the guitar is present on the album in the end or not.
And the last thing the world needs is a white straight male with a guitar. Right? Let's be honest.
No, I'm not saying this at all.
No, but I'm
questioning it. Well,
it is. I mean, it's
not. What the world needs is people being themselves and expressing themselves uniquely in their music, being genuine and honest, and that's why people relate to your stuff, because this is Will being Will. This isn't, here's another song.
And that's a very Will being Will way of statement of what I said. You know, it's like, that's me being me. Like, of course, I don't really think.
Again.
I don't absolutely think that, but I am the guy that thinks, God, the last thing the world needs is me.
But I'm still trying to do me, and they don't want it. But yeah, as far as the genre thing, do you feel do you ever feel limited, restricted? I can't actually put that out because it might screw up my fan base situation.
Being on those major label records, when they're like, look, we need you to decide, do you want to be the guy with an acoustic guitar and folk and be sensitive? Do you want to do that? Do you want to be we can make you the next Tom Petty? Oh, do you want to be indie rock a little bit? Like, what is it?
What are we going for?
We need you
here?
to choose one or the other. And I was like, I don't want to choose.
Yeah.
I want to use the language of all this type of music. Sometimes I just want to use the production of a type of song to help the narrative of the song.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck what that is.
You feel like you don't put any restrictions on the process now as an independent artist that does what he wants to do.
Right.
You don't put restrictions on it. There's no box. Like, you're writing a song and this is going to go. I do think people end up
saying what you say is like, oh, it sounds like Will Dailey record, because sometimes it is all over the place, and it does have like, oh, it's a pop rock theme. There's an Americana theme song. You know, it's like there's all these flavors being used. I would say that's been what was a struggle and also ended up being the strong suit a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, Golden Walker had a fucking disco song on it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then the song after had nothing. But that was the only song.
That's the kind. What's that song? It's just like that's the kind of thing that makes the world go round.
Right. Then there's that one, which is like what?
And then it's the Sunken Ship song, which
Right.
has a little bit of
Right.
this reggae vibe
Right.
to it.
And they're complete opposites, but they're not. Because I was being serious. I was genuine. I wanted to play those songs.
Like, oh, now I'm going to
That's
try
how
to
I
do
wanna
something
do it.
like this. See what they think about this.
Yeah, it's not like a complete pop artist being like, all right, we need to have a little bit for every demographic. It's more like,
in saying this,
I have
are you
ADHD.
telling me that you don't consider that at all? Hey, I'm going to add a little, make sure I have covered my bases. I got to have
not at all. If
my
anything,
solo, completely acoustic song that's going to make him cry on here. Like, you don't have those thoughts.
not at all. To be honest.
Be honest with me.
Every album.
Yeah.
This has been discussions all of COVID with my closest creative partners.
Yep.
Joking how every album I go in, I need to make the most cohesive record because I'm just. I would love to make
like a Dark Side of the Moon, like The Wall,
right?
Something
Or even more
flows.
like an Iron and Wine record's really cohesive to me. You know, a Ray LaMontagne record's really
Iron and
cohesive
Wine
to
is
me.
probably the best example.
You know what I mean?
The next song completely should be on the album when it starts. You're like,
right,
yep.
Right. And sometimes it's just like I can put this on for a dinner party and no one's gonna get upset.
No way.
Or there's nothing to come on and be like, this is a different energy. I'm so sorry.
Oh, golly,
right?
what happened here?
But I also love Sticky Fingers by the Stones, which have rock songs, country songs, epic songs, ballads. Those are the records. A little bit of schizophrenia, a little bit of ADHD.
And this kind of suits your mind naturally.
It
You're a little wild,
does. Well,
bouncing back and
ADHD,
forth.
Yeah.
You're ADHD. Are you like is that a thing? Is that a real thing? Self-diagnosed, I guess is what I'm saying
You're not
here.
my doctor, but listen.
What's your diet like, Will?
It's eat to survive.
It's good.
Eat to survive.
I like that.
Again, it goes back to I'll say yes to anything once. I do not want to be on this earth in this chance that I have in this unimaginable mathematical equation to have this journey be with music and not say, there's a pool of water over there I recognize. You don't think I'm not going to dip my toe in it? And could there be any reason that I could think of that would say maybe you shouldn't artistically, sonically? So there's never a plan that way. I don't want to be robbed of an experience with music.
I like to hear this from you.
And to the point of,
do you feel you've taken criticism for choosing this kind of layout that you have on your album? Some people are like, Will's album's good, but what is this, dude? I can't.
Dealing with record labels or publicists, or radio stations and stuff like that.
I see. So you're living in the Boston area. Who are some of the bands in Boston? Let's talk about others here that at this time that you're into. Who are the Boston cats you love?
At this moment?
Bands. Well, this moment is a little bit funny, but who
I'll
are Boston acts that you're into?
There's a school of Boston musicians who, for me, they were the acts that when I was coming up or when I was even a kid, it's like those bands are on cover Rolling Stone or on the radio and they're from Boston.
Who?
Letters to Cleo. Juliana Hatfield.
Yeah.
Belly was huge for me.
Yeah.
It meant a lot for me. And then there's even before that time, like Aerosmith and the Cars, you're aware of that, but that was somebody else's music
whole
at the
new
time.
level.
Yeah, that's 70. Well, no, I mean Aerosmith is big in the 90s too.
How about your personal connections, like the local cats that you're like, these are Boston bands, but these bands are incredible, legendary. You actually go to see them. You ever go see anybody perform well?
No.
You don't. Night off, never going out to the clubs.
That's the thing. I don't have nights off. Unless I'm playing with the band, I don't see them. But I do pay attention to Boston music heavily. I'll say this.
Who's caught your ear on the Spotify jam that's a Boston band?
No, people I've seen live, people I go see live, my friends, people I work with, people I make records with.
Talking about people you're drawn to.
Right now, Still Gold.
Yep.
Cliff Notes.
Yep.
Oompa, Latrell James, as far as hip-hop goes. Folk, singer-songwriter world, an artist I worked with who's putting out music, I think this week, that I produced and played on, Samantha Farrell.
Yep.
I will always find my even keel level, my zero, like just spending time or listening to Dan Blakesley.
Oh, yeah. Right? We share a mutual love for Dan Blakesley.
There's Lori McKenna, who's a beacon, I think, in Massachusetts.
Totally.
And there's a lot. Anjemili has been something I've been really proud of from this town. He's wonderful.
You ever get down on some Melissa Ferrick?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That's the thing.
She's a couple of streets away from
here.
True,
and she's been wonderful to me. And I would say about that whole school that I came up idolizing, Kay Hanley from Letters to Cleo, mentor and sister to me.
Yeah.
In Guiding Light. Tanya Donnelly from Belly, who sang my song my album Golden Walker on the song Ultimate Companion with me, which is like just a dream come true.
Epic, yeah.
But she's also my friend and a mentor and a friend, and just And Juliana Hatfield's treated me amazing, taking me out with her, and is a continuing
Boston
influence.
You love Boston. It's welcoming to you. It's consider.
It's a moronic place to go to have a music career. The city itself and the state.
He said moronic place to go to have a music career.
The city itself, in the state of Massachusetts itself, couldn't do more to damage itself in the musical arts than it already does. Yeah. And I don't mean that as an attack. I mean that as a call to arms.
Call to arms.
And I mean it also as a warning. Because
it did sound like an attack a couple of times.
Well, an attack is different than a warning. A warning is from a friend who loves you.
Okay.
You know? And the warning is this. If you do not make this a place where arts can thrive, which I think Massachusetts is doing a way better job as arts as a whole can thrive.
Yeah.
But if you can't do it at a place where popular music thrives, which is the human oil for all of us.
Yes.
You're going to lose real estate value in the long term, and you won't even know why. You won't even know what this does to have a thriving club next to your bank,
right?
Next to your pharmaceutical company. You won't know what it means to have a thriving record label, radio stations, internet companies that deal with arts, publicity companies that deal with musical arts. When those things are thriving, your nightlife is thriving, so your restaurants are thriving. Your restaurants are thriving, so the cooks come. Your pharmaceutical companies are thriving because the 26-year-old that you want to acquire for your company from California or graduating from some college is walking by. I say, "Oh, Boston, you know who lives in Boston? Anjemili. Yeah. I'm going to go there. Yeah. I'm going to go there. I'm going to take that job there because it's not New York. It's not so crazy, but it's still got fun stuff. It's got history. It's got things that are up and coming." So Boston has already lost for this. Massachusetts has already lost and continues to lose since the industry changed so much. And if it doesn't figure out a way to make it a place, so now we're not just where artists stay, but an artist in America or the world will say, you know where I'm going to go?
I'm going to go to Boston.
I'm going to go to Boston.
So what are you suggesting are some of the changes that you see you could implement that would have an
impact? I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone who can make it happen, but I'm going to keep that close to my chest.
I can't make those changes. You see that? That was another attack.
Well, it's there's a problem when a lot of money's being thrown around. It's being thrown around by people who want to feel good quickly. Yeah. And know that there can be a tax write-off.
Cover it up here.
And again, that's just the truth of the situation, and I'm perfectly comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I would actually go to that same person. I would be like, "What about your legacy?" Whether it be a politician or someone with a lot of money who can do something amazing that will actually plant roots. Because what Boston is doing very well right now, Massachusetts is doing very well right now, is reassessing inequalities and reassessing how to invest in youth. But what happens when you invest in the root and don't give it any other place to grow other than to flower and come out of the ground? It says, all right, well, I'm going to go over here for the next rays of sunlight.
We'll take you to this
the next stream of water. So Massachusetts and Boston currently has the best AAA team, but no major leagues.
I see what you're
as
saying.
Far as arts. So a plan needs to be put together for the major leagues. And I just feel like from my examples of being someone who stubbornly stayed here because I believed if artists don't stay in Boston,
Right.
Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco,
All
Atlanta,
of a sudden, there is no arts. There is no music.
the whole country suffers.
Yeah.
Your state suffers.
Yeah.
And the country suffers because it becomes, you don't count, you say, they came out of New York on a pile of corpses,
Yeah.
you know? So we all suffer because, again, it's the oil of our humanity.
So you love the humans in Boston, your people in Boston, but you see that there's a bigger issue going on there that is ultimately not supporting the arts as you get to ages that are
They're not supporting
beyond
the arts comprehensively,
okay.
and they're not supporting them in the long term.
But you think there's a way and there is hope.
There's always a
Yeah.
way, and artists know that.
Make it happen. So do you, amidst all of this chaos that has gone on over this previous phase here, do you still feel like a kid, Will? You feel alive? Would you say that you are youthful, exuberant, jolly? No, it's sucked out of you. You're a little bitter at this point in life?
I am not bitter
You're
at
not
all.
bitter. You're not.
the thing.
You're not feeling like a child and not ultra happy when you wake. Are you waking up happy?
Oh, yeah. I'm waking up
Okay,
happy.
the foundation, the base point is happy. So what's the thing?
I guess the thing is,
What is it?
you know,
You got to take action.
enjoy your life. I mean,
Right.
I am enjoying my life.
Yeah.
When I let outside influences come in, especially pre-pandemic or during pandemic, it's harder to enjoy your life.
Yep.
I'm an agnostic person.
Yes.
I believe that everything has an opposite and is at opposition, right? The cells in our body, countries, regions, planets, and when they have balance, then we have progress and more ability for joy.
Equal and opposite.
Right.
Okay.
And I feel really at balance right now with where I've been and where I'm going.
So
I'm content. I don't have the extreme of happiness,
mental peace,
or
even keel.
I don't have any of those things I have where I am right now with you.
Okay.
I think you're always very good at creating that, and I think I have that as I'm driving home tonight. I think I'll have that in the morning.
I know this about you.
And
All of my experiences with you.
Yeah.
It's a very stable mind.
And I know
It's not erratic,
when I'm off,
logical.
there's a part of my mind always that can go, you are off. I know you don't know how to get back right now. I know you feel out of control.
Mm-hmm.
But you do know that there's that will end.
Yeah.
And you do know something will present itself where you find your way out. My friend who didn't make it out of the pandemic, he never has that trigger. My friend who passed from cancer during the pandemic, he's part of the reason I have this.
Yeah.
And I believe.
So you lost a dear friend to cancer during the course of the pandemic.
Mhm.
Can we say his or her name?
Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a dear friend of suicide named Joe. And they're both wonderful. Jean-Pierre, there is no past to Jean-Pierre. He never believed in past and present, so he's not gone. It's really tough to talk about him. I haven't even been able to share my thoughts on it in my stories, which are copious. But, you know, for me personally, it's all this glorious accident of improbability in mathematics. I don't have a belief system other than that. And that gives me the most gratitude and grace and patience and contentment to believe that billions and billions and billions upon billions of actions have been happening and happening. And I am the swimmer that made it to the egg. And sometimes I just need to remember that my first action was winning.
Victory.
You know?
Yeah.
Was doing something well.
Yeah.
When I feel the worst, I'm like, well, my first action was doing something well. And that one chance to do that thing was complete accident, complete, beautiful,
use of a colloquial phrase,
and the chance of all that happening for you and I to be here with this technology and this screen and somebody watching this right now.
Hey.
The improbability of all of that
it's beautiful
is the most
mystery.
miraculous thing about us.
Perfect chaos.
And we accept that. We become more valuable.
Yes.
And the person next to me becomes more valuable. Even if I don't know them or can't see them because I'm connected to them from these devices, I can't feel it. I can trigger and say, that person's important. I'm important. Everyone's important. And we need to keep finding justice and balance and equality. And no one needs to be scared of that or frightened of that because we're all
the same.
Advance.
Beautiful.
And so I'm all, going forward, my happiness is always advocating for those truths, and that means standing with the people who don't yet get to have that balance and grace because they are under undue stress and undue injustice.
If there was no music in the world and you weren't playing music, what would you be doing with your time? Would it be this type of route? Would you be a activist of sorts? Is that what you think your secondary calling is in this world? Do you feel like you're not doing a service that you should be doing? Does that daunt you in some ways? I'm busy.
It's hard to
music,
imagine
so
any other probability
in
this mathematical equation
hypothetical
that doesn't
situation.
draw me to a tennis racket that says, "Yeah, I'm a guitar," kind of thing. And it's it's an important question, but I understand the question for sure. But
a lot to consider.
These are the shakes, man. This is how it shook out, and I'm kind of out of control.
Yeah.
Of a lot of it.
Yeah. So the way this works here, Will, and the reason that I've asked you to come on the show today onto offering something is that there are two things of the many that you do that are stand-outish and need to be noted and recognized. And I just want to say these things to you. I am, as a grown man that knows you pretty well, we've had some real conversations. I consider you a friend. We don't see each other every day, but from where I sit, I see what you're doing in the world and what you're accomplishing and the individual that you are and how you've taken your ideas and what you want to do with your days and what you think is best and turned it into something that is a successful career, for lack of a better word, that allows you to exist, provide for your family and yourself, and to be a functioning and loved member of society. It's great that you are doing what you ultimately want to do with your time. That is incredible. Without you acting on your thoughts and your ideas, your career, your world would be completely different. That's wonderful. I love you for doing that. Another reason is that as time has gone on and you've had these great successes, as you go about your day-to-day life and you look at people in the eye like you're looking at me now, and you have conversations with humans you may or may not know, your ultimate goal and your way of going about things is one that provides a positive benefit to a situation. You actually care and love humans, and that's represented in your behavior. And yes, you probably know this, but it's valuable to say it to you. I want you to know I see the way you act. I see what you've done with your time. I love you for it. I want to compliment you and tell you this. It's beautiful. You are doing great things. And maybe people don't say it as directly, but it's really nice. You're here now. You're alive. I want to say that to you. That's why I asked you to come on the show, Will. Comfortable to look you in the eye as I tell you, you're a great person. It's beautiful. We need people to act upon their thoughts and their creative ideas and to continue to be good humans. And that is what you're offering to the world.
Well, I thank you for that, and I want to say.
You don't have to say anything.
Well, I do want to say that I heard that Ellen is ending her show, and I can think of no better replacement than you.
Ellen, hit me up.
There's no better replacement than you.
Thank you. I'm glad this led us to Ellen.
And I would like to walk like out onto your stage I would see you be dancing.
Yeah. Happily.
And I would like come out dancing with you.
So happy
and
to see you.
We'd have this great conversation, and you'd make all of America feel better.
Yeah.
And you would see things in people, as you always do, that are true, and you would reflect it. And you create platforms like this that help artists and you help people connect. So
the platform would be Ellen.
Yeah, it would just still be called Ellen.
Ellen, but it would just be me.
Yes.
Still call it Ellen.
Yes.
But it's really Michael. So I just wanted to praise you while you're here, man. Smell the flowers.
Thank you, brother.
You're a good dude.
Thank you very much.
Play a game? Little game. Keep it fun.
Is it in the box?
No, it's not in the box. It's me. The game is called Fast, Fun, and Not So Smart. Exceptionally not so smart today. Fast, fun, and not so smart. It's fast because I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to clap, make it seem like something's going on. It's fun because we're having fun. We're playing games with like little kids, and it's not so smart because you're not going to think that much. You're really just going to say the things, all right?
Okay.
I like the clapping.
Is there a laugh track?
I'll do the laugh track for us. Here we go. Fast, fun, and not so smart with Will Dailey. Will, what is your favorite sitcom?
Bojack Horseman.
Bojack Horseman.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. Oh, golly. Kale salad or some fat, blood-dripping beef sandwich?
Kale salad.
If you had to eliminate one state in the United States of America, what state would it be?
Alaska belongs to Canada.
You answer the next question, which was wow. That's it. That's all my questions.
The state one, I really came up quick, and I can't.
You did. I was like,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. I mean,
Alaska,
Texas, you could get back to Mexico.
Typical answers.
Florida.
Texas, California, and Florida are the top three answers in that. I keep that question in all of them.
Florida is like the flaccid penis of America. And it makes sense. So it's like it deserves to get a pill or something.
Now we won't be able to run the Google ads.
It needs some Viagra.
Oh man. I really appreciate you being here, Will. Let's do. Let's talk about the Instagrams, these types of things that we love so much. What's your Instagram handle? How do people connect with you, or whatever you like to do? WillDailey.com.
Will Dailey Official.
Will Dailey Official
On Instagram.
Yeah.
Dailey, you got to put the E in there.
Yes.
Dailey.
DAILEY.
How many times a year do you think I roll up to a club and the marquee doesn't have an E?
Oh man. I can't imagine. It's more than the amount of times they put
it's not
the
as
E
bad as you
before
think,
the A.
but it stings like it's more than that. It's two times.
Will Daily News.
It's 2 times. 2 times a year, I would say,
that's
average.
It?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's
sometimes
far
like
less.
the marquee has like the E on it, but like the chalkboard inside has no E, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's a tough thing.
I would
Will
be the person.
EY.com.
WillDaileyEY.com.
You get down on the
Will Dailey
Instagram
Official.
jams, any of these types of things?
Sometimes when I can genuinely get into it, then I'm all in, and it's usually like a 24, 48-hour period, and there's like 3 weeks where I'm just like...
You're not like, here I am, eating breakfast. Will Dailey loves Captain Crunch and Fruity Pebbles.
I can't, man. I'm not... I wish I was better because I do know the value of its power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my greatest power goes back to the 100 shows is when I'm in front of people playing music, then I'm in my greatest power, far more powerful than any algorithm.
You know what's pretty powerful? You recently created a human.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we named her Covidia because she was born during the pandemic. So
is that true?
No.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
People are like, wow.
Take the joke.
I thought he was pretty good. Maybe he was crazy. No, he is. It's over for him.
Covey.
Don't touch
that.
Here.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a baby girl.
That's beautiful.
It was a nice.
Congratulations.
It was a nice focal point that my wife maintained and heroically kept zen throughout the whole thing.
The belly.
Born at home,
Yep.
in February.
A home birth.
Home birth, yeah.
Nice.
Which is, I can't recommend enough. We did it for a couple 100,000 years. And now with the medical science we have, when you mix back in the natural process, it's not a big deal.
Right.
And what people don't know about home births is 99% of the emergencies of a birth where we need a hospital happen before labor. So
so you're in the room, you, your wife, the doula is outside the door. Is it in where you live? Do they
in our
make
bedroom.
you have an ambulance waiting outside?
No.
Okay.
No. The ambulance
Awesome.
that would ever happen, you would know way ahead. Once labor starts and they're getting the reasons, they're getting the readings. But it was like we set up this like little portable tub in our bedroom, and there's three highly skilled doulas.
Yeah.
Labor started at 3, and at 8:30 at night we were home alone in bed with the baby. Everything was cleaned up, and you wouldn't know that anyone was there.
Was it a lotus birth, or was the cord snipped and placenta not with?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes the placenta remains attached to the umbilical cord to allow for even further of a calming transition.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that happened with my other daughter too.
Yeah. All right.
In the tub, and this was.
Wow, man. So, what is the actual real name? Do we get that, or
I keep forgetting? But
he's not giving the name. That's all right. There was a onesie in that box there for that child.
Her name is Esme.
Esme.
And she's doing wonderful. Tough couple 2 months. Had all the. We actually did have to go to the hospital 10 days later with jaundice. Oh. And so I sent mom home because it was very jaundice. 10 days in, it's tough. Like, they have to wear this mask covering, very Hannibal Lecter-y, and sit under these lights. And so me and Esme sat in the hospital all night, and it's just
the lotion.
But it was a great bonding experience. Yeah.
I love you, man. Once
love
again,
you too.
Will, thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for always providing spaces for artists and for people to express themselves.
It's my pleasure. Like, as much as
always.
That happens, like I tell you, with everything in my world, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying my time, and I take action to do that.
You do.
So in organizing us being here, it's because I love you, and this is a pleasurable experience. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
I know. I just want to get my glasses back. So yeah.
I know. I was like, he has to come. He needs these glasses. Oh, yeah. Well, that's it, y'all. It's peace. This is Will Dailey. I got to once again give love to our sponsors, Enjoy Your Life brand, Riverwalk Brewing Company. You know I love you for watching. Like I always say, lean on that subscribe button for me. And most importantly, enjoy your life. Take the action to do that. All right? Wow. You look good. Was that hat off for a while?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Good golly. He's out of here. That's it, y'all. Peace and health, my friends. We will see you right here next time. Yeah.